Hi, how's it going? Welcome to the Building Blocks of Bass. My name is Bob DeBoo. Happy Monday. Welcome back into the shed. This is where I do a lot of my practicing, of course. If you've joined me on any of these guided practice sessions before, you know this room. It's not quite open studio color walls, but I'm working on it, trying to get with the program here. So anyways, we are going to be working on some some Charlie Parker today. We're going to be learning some Charlie Parker on the electric bass. We're going to work on this blues that's not called too often, or played too often, which is called Visa. So Visa is a Charlie Parker blues. I know it's on this record right here, Buried at St. Nick's, which if you don't know this record, yeah, check it out because it's really, really super amazing. And if you know that record, you know that I'm not giving it enough props by saying that it's super amazing. But yeah, that's Buried at St. Nick's, which is a really famous live Charlie Parker recording. And we're going to be playing a song from that today entitled Visa. Now, recently when I learned this song, and I admit I just learned this song recently myself, or this head myself. It is a blues, so we pretty much know the chord changes going into this thing, right? But learning the melody was another matter. And I actually learned it from this recording. Anybody know this recording? This Charlie Hayden album. And if you don't know Charlie Hayden, you're in for a treat because Charlie Hayden's one of the premier bass players of all time. But we've recently, we lost Charlie. But anyways, this album called Silence with Chet Baker, Enrico, and Billy Higgins is pretty amazing. And they play Visa on this album. But they play it in a different key than Buried. They play it in B flat. So today we're going to be learning it from this recording, the B flat version of Charlie Parker's Visa. So you can click the link down below, of course, for a link to a PDF. I have everything charted out, and I have some tab as well for the since we're doing electric bass. If nobody's up, if people aren't up for reading, that's totally fine. There's many great musicians that don't know how to read music. Doesn't really matter. We just want more people playing music and getting better, right? So if that means having tab or just doing it visually, I think this is a great medium too. So check out the tab or check out the link down below for a free PDF. Please, if you're so inclined to, join the Facebook group that we've got going here, the Building Blocks of Bass Facebook group. We just up 450 something members now, so going strong, building a little community. I love it. It's one of the things I really hate about COVID and doing all this is the lack of the community. Here in St. Louis, we have a really good, strong community of musicians, and we're used to being out, and I'm sure it's the same where you're at, but we're all used to being out playing and seeing each other and having lessons and doing rehearsals and seeing other people's gigs. And everybody knows, but this is at least some type of replacement that I really, truly enjoy. So join the Facebook group. You can leave suggestions for things that we can practice here as well. Any questions about anything that we've done, or check out previous stuff. Previous guided practice sessions. There's a bunch of live stuff going on Open Studio's YouTube channel. So always keep up to date. I think you can find a good link down below as well to find out what's coming up next on Open Studio's YouTube channel. A lot of good stuff going on. A lot of good stuff. Of course, we do this every Monday at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And we do this every Monday. I don't know how many weeks we've been doing this now. We should really count. It's just been so much fun that we've lost track of this. So basically on the Building Blocks of Bass, what we do here is we take a concept and we work on it, whether it's on electric, upright bass, walking, soloing, playing melodies, thinking theory, thinking rhythm, all of that. It all really coalesces and comes together in these sessions, but we try to have a focused theme. And the theme this Monday, is Charlie Parker's Visa. And again, I was saying earlier that I learned this melody from this recording right here, which is just beautiful. And especially, Charlie Hayden's track entitled Silence on this album. It's just one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. So I really love that. It's a great album. Check it out. You can check out a way faster version of Visa on St. Nick's, Buried at St. Nick's, which is great. And so I've been instructed to let everybody know that there's a 50% off discount code for my new course entitled The Building Blocks of Bass, which you can see here on Open Studio. So that's me, of course, Bob DeBoo. The Building Blocks of Bass is a course that I designed for Open Studio, specifically for newer bass players. If you're just getting used to the upright, like how to hold the bass, how to stand, how to play it in tune, how to get a good sound, play with good time, et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, all right, so I see we've got some folks in the room. Let's get started with our practice. I'm going to try out a little something here today, a little innovative for me at least, where we've got a little side cam. And maybe that would help, maybe that'll hurt. Let me know in the comments if this helps or if this hurts, or if you just see my belly a little bit better with some of that Christmas candy coming through. But let me know if you like this new look where we can see a little bit of the left hand. And we're going to take this today 2 bars at a time. And you might be saying, Bob, I don't have time for this, but we are actually going to take it 2 bars at a time and try to internalize it. We're going to try to internalize the rhythm of these melodies, and then, of course, internalize the notes, play the notes on the bass. And then we're going to try to memorize it 2 bars by 2 bars. And it's 12-bar blues. So we've got a little bit of work to do, okay? So let's just start off real quick by checking out the rhythm of this. That's one of the downsides with tab. Or if you're a tab reader, maybe you don't understand reading notation rhythms. So it's really important to hear this. And you should, by all means, of course, check out any recording you can find of this track. And this is called Visa. But let's start off by finding just the rhythm of this. Okay, so we're going to practice by singing this, all right? And I'm going to call this beat 4 right now. So it's at 40. Actually, you know what? I'm going to slow this down just a hair. Y'all don't mind. But it's for me, not quite warmed up yet. So I've got my metronome going here. 35 beats per minute, right? Which would be like super slow, and it is. But I'm going to call this beat 4. So it's really just internalize the tempo first. So here's what we have. We have, when this clicks, say beat 4. 4. 4. 4. You got it? You say 4? 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So now let's check out, now that we've got the tempo internalized, let's check out this rhythm. So I'm just going to clap it through a few times, vocalize it. Do that with me, okay? Before we even worry about the pitches, let's worry about the rhythm. Make sure we've got that really solid, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 dee da da ba 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 da da. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba 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 dee da da dee da ya ya. So it's a little bit hard to clap because there's a lot of eighth notes in there. We are talking about Bird after all. This is bebop. Let's try playing it. Remember that rhythm that we have internalized now, and our tempo should be a little bit more on point just because we've taken that time to think about that, right? But let's try with the notes now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I get off of this really easily. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, dee, da, dee, dee, dee. I kind of flubbed that end of it. One more time. Try, as you're doing this, if you can look away from the screen or not look at this transcription, that's great. Try that. Try to just internalize this. Can you still sing it? Just by looking. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba 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 dee da dee do ba ba da da da. Let's try it. Play it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Good. Now I'm going to take this away. Let's see if we've got it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, nice. So it flows pretty well in the bass. The original key of this is C. So Charlie Parker plays this in the key of C, and it's, of course, his tune. The recording that I was checking out, that I was talking about, is this Chet Baker recording right here, where they played in B flat. So it's a blues. It's a 12-bar blues. We've just checked out the first 2 bars. Let's move on to the next 2 bars and just learn that in its entirety in these 2 bars the way that it is right here, okay? Let's take the tempo off and make it just a little bit slower to get this together, because there's a little bit more going on, of course, rhythmically over on the right side. I'm going to try this just so I can get what I'm used to with these triplets and these eighth notes, right? So, but let's say the tempo is like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and da 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 ba be da da dee da. So here's the tempo, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 da 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 dee da da dee da. Now, of course, another great way to learn these rhythms is just to listen to the recording and try playing along with it. So if you can get that, like in your ears and try singing along with it, that's going to make what you play on the instrument, and actually, no matter what instrument we're talking about, it's going to make your playing that much stronger because you've got it internalized in your ear and in your, in your actual being, as opposed to just, on the instrument. So let's try this. Let's try these notes now. So we've got so the first bar that we have over here, this is actually the 3rd bar of the melody, right? Is pretty tame. It's just the triad. So we've got 5, root, 5, 3. So 5, 5, root, 5, 3. Now what happens over here is Bird altering like the 1 chord. So we're in the key of B flat for this particular version. So this is still the 1 chord, but check it out. He's starting the 8th note on the flat 13th. He's playing like this augmented triad. G flat, B flat, D, which immediately makes your ears perk up. So this 4th bar, and actually throughout the blues, every 4th bar, if you think about it being 4 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars, 3 groups, 12 bars altogether, every 4th bar, that's a cool place to add in some of this tension. If you've been shedding your flat 9s, shedding your altered scales, all that stuff, it's a good place to put it in, right? Because it's transitory. It moves to the next 4 bars. Anyways, I'm talking. Let's play it. So we have, this is right here, G flat. So all that is pretty much whole tone, but then he does this thing where he's a half step above where he's trying to get to. He's trying to get to this B flat over here. So he's playing a half step above it in the whole step just to lead to it. So it's a different kind. It's not quite an enclosure, but it's an approach. And then he's going to do the same thing, getting to the 3rd. I can't get my coordination, but getting to the 3rd of the 4 chord, which is coming up. So he's looking for a G. So he's doing the same thing to a G. A flat, B flat, G. So if he's getting to the 5th, which is B flat, he's playing B natural, C sharp, B flat. And if he's trying to get to the 3rd, he's playing A flat, B flat, G. Right? All right. So let's try this in tempo now. We'll check out my other cam here, see if this makes sense. So leave in the comments if this makes sense to you or not, if this is helping, hurting. It's a new thing for me, at least. Okay, so as we're hearing this metronome go, remember to internalize the tempo. So we're going to call this 4. So if that's new to you, that's cool, because that's a new skill that you're going to develop. But getting less information from the metronome is definitely an A+ thing to practice. If you need more or are interested in more ideas for how to practice like this, check out my course, The Building Blocks of Bass. Of course, you can find a link below. So we're going to call this 4. 4. 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? I'm going to take it away because I kind of like just having my hand up this way. So if, at least for right now, let me know. Let's try this again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Right, so can you see that on the fingerboard? How it's just like a half step leading down to this G or a half step leading down to this B flat? Right, it all makes sense. It's very logical with where it's heading. So let's try this one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Great, now let's put the first 4 bars on it, or the first 2 bars. So we'll play the first 4 bars all together. And if you need a refresher on that, That's this. That little phrase right there. Again, you can get everything at the PDF down below. But let's just try the first 4 bars and we'll try looping it, all right? So try this with me now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I don't know about you, but there's one place I always want to rush, and that's where we get into eighth notes. It's one thing, you know, I practice a bunch with the metronome on really slow. If you follow what we do, you know that that's a thing. But when it comes to playing non-quarter notes, it's really easy for me to rush or get ahead of the beat. So my goal here with this practice is to internalize this melody, but also practice it to where my rhythm is nice and relaxed and just floating. So as I'm hearing this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 da. And it's right there that I want to rush. I don't know why, but it's always a thing. So a really great tip for checking out to like figure out if you're rushing or dragging. You can do this right away. You can do this immediately, is to record yourself and listen back. Best advice I ever got was to like record yourself, Bob, and listen back, because you're honestly going to hear whatever it is that's coming out of your instrument. And I think it's a really good thing to do. So let's do those first 4 bars. Let's do that first 4 bars again a few times through to make sure we've got it internalized. Ready? 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba ba da boom dee da dee da dee 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 da dee dee doo. Yeah, cool, fun, right? All right, so we got the first 4 bars on. Let's move our first 4 bars down. Let's check out the next 4. So we've gotten to the 4 chord. If we're in a B flat blues, the 4 chord is going to be E flat, typically E flat 7, right? So that's pretty clearly outlined here. Bird is playing in the melody is a G, so the 3rd of E flat. It's going up to the 7th, to the 13th, and to the 5th. This is all pretty diatonic inside E flat 7 until you get to this G flat. So he's causing a little bit of tension there. But let's find the rhythm of this and try clapping it. Okay. So I'm going to turn the metronome off just so we can do it a little bit slower now. Let's try it. So clap with me, okay? So we're going to do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Da 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 da. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and. That's the way that I grew up learning how to count. How to count rhythms, which is probably something we could go over at some point too, because I don't know how that's getting taught these days, but that's how I do this. That's how I think about it, at least when we just get up to eighth notes or triplets, you know. 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and 4, and. Right, so that's our rhythm. Let's try it in time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 ba 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 da 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 da. Let's try to put it on the bass now, okay? All right, I'm gonna bring back my cam. Now I really like to hear this where it's just beat 1 from the metronome, because it gives me a more circular. I don't know if I can land at a big landmark like beat 4 or something like that. That really, you know, makes everything feel like it's working well for me. So now that my camera's caught up a little bit here, I'm going to try it. Try this with me, okay? 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Da di 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 do da. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba bi di 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 do. Again. 1, 2, 3, go. Boom, di, 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 da, da. Now, of course, all of the tab that I have here, or even like some of the fingerings that I'm doing, you can do any, like whatever you want to do there. You notice in the tab that I had earlier, and you can click the link down below to get a free copy of that. But you'll notice that I have it written as an open G, where it could just as easily be a closed G here. There's really no issue with that being, especially since it does that chromatic motion like that. So that's totally okay. And now also my hope is to move this into the key the bird does it in. So move it up a whole step. So if we keep everything closed in our left hand and don't use any open strings, then that's really going to help us out too for transposing, which is always the next step when we're learning a new melody. So let's listen to this melody one more time. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. And we've got that little F at the end there, right? So let's try what we have so far, the first 6 bars. How much do you have from memory? And if you don't have it memorized, it's totally okay. I've been working on this. That's why I have it memorized. But check out the PDF down below. Just click the link, and you'll be able to see it on a screen or print it out or whatever you want to do with it, okay? So let's try this out. We've got 4, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, cool. Let's try that much again. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So to me, that feels really like nice and balanced rhythmically. I'm not thinking about all 4 beats like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a good way to like hang yourself down and like make the rhythm feel really heavy. If you're thinking about all 4 beats, it's a good way to just like drag down the beat or the feeling of what's going on. So for me, if I can practice and get more towards that open roundedness of like a whole measure or two measures, then that gives me a much more grounded rhythmic feeling. So, all right, let's check out the next 2 bars, and we'll look at what this is information-wise too, and we're going to play the whole thing down. Okay, so now we're back to the 1 chord. So we're looking at bar 7 and 8. This is bar 7. This is bar 8. You see at bar 7, we've gotten back to the 1 chord. So we're back in B flat. Okay, and let's look at the information harmonically first. We've got the 3rd, the root, the 9, the root, the 5th, the 3rd. So everything's really super diatonic right here in B flat. Let's just look at the rhythm of it. So if we're counting, this is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and da da da. So we've got here is 1 and. This is beat 2. This is beat 3. So this is the and of 3 is when this is falling, and then the and of 4. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. So we have 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. That's how you would count this measure right here. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. So all together, let's count these 2 measures together, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. Good. Let's see if we can do that with a metronome. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Gonna make sure I really have it before I count it in, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Nope, totally wrong. I messed up the end of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. It's hard to do, right? But now if I put that on the bass, and I've already taken the time to think about it rhythmically, it should feel a little bit more grounded. Do you know what I mean? And not like off kilter like I often do. And I should note that I often do that when I go to electric too. I play a lot more upright bass than I play electric bass. which is not an excuse. It's just a reality. And I notice that I rush on it. I am not super comfortable on the electric bass. So that's something I want to get more comfortable with. And this is a good way to do it. Let's play these 2 bars now. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, fingering wise, I like to play this D with my pinky, B flat with my first finger, probably just my second finger, or maybe even my pinky, whatever this does, that works. But I want to think about getting to A flat right here. So how am I going to get to that A flat? I got to come up this way, right? So I would most likely play this D with my middle finger and then go to this A flat with my pinky. So I can play across this way, up that major third. All right, let's try it. Let's just try it a few times through. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Can you still hear the time going? Da, 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 da. Walk the dog, 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 walk the dog. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that's where it's going to be heading. Let's see. Can we do? Let's check your memory now. Let's see if we can get from the beginning of the melody up to that point. And again, you can click the link down below. You can get a copy of the PDF for this. Join our Facebook group. There's a special 50% off discount of my course, The Building Blocks of Bass, as well, where we covered playing like this, playing melodies, working with time, getting good sounds, electric bass, upright bass. It's all there. So, all right. So let's check it out. Let's see if we can do the melody from the beginning up until just that point. Okay. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I noticed that this camera is freezing up a little bit. Let me just try it again. Maybe it'll warm up. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 dum dee da dee da dee 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 dum dee dee dum dee da dee da dee dum dee 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 dum. And that last B flat we haven't quite gotten to, but it's next up on the list. Let's try one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I was thinking in the key of C. Totally made a mistake there. I was already trying to transpose, doing the work before we got there. From the top, B flat again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba, ba, da, dee, da, dee, 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 Cool, cool, cool. Excellent. All right, let's check out the last bit of this now, okay? So we've got the last 4 bars to learn. We're almost there. We've learned this melody. That's why I like these blueses in these sessions. 12 bars. Adds up quick, but so here is beat 1. So we've gotten right here. We're coming from that previous 4 bars that we just did, right? So, and I mean this, right? So check out the B natural to G, and that leads into this next B flat, okay? So when we see it in 2 bar groupings like this, it's real easy to get like kind of off kilter with what we're talking about, but that's leading to a B flat. So we have just counting it out rhythmically now. I like to say triplet, or 1, 2, 3, or 1 however you like to say it. Triplet da da da. And so I could say 1 2 and 3 4. And that's one way to count this, right? 1 2 and 3 4 and 1 and So let's try clapping and counting this together, okay? 1 2 3 go. Triplet 2 and 3 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 4 and. Come on, count it with me. Don't make me be on YouTube doing this by myself, okay? Come on, clap with me. 1 2 3 4. triplet, 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Great. Now let's get the notes. Okay. So we've got triplet. So that's B flat, C, B flat, A, G, B flat. Now again, you could play this G instead of doing it open. You could play at the 5th fret on the D string all day. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Just the way that it was written out when I wrote this. So I could do it just that way just as well. Now, if you're thinking about transposing or taking this into a new key, that might be a wise idea. Play it like that. So I'm catching the G natural with my pinky on the 5th fret of the D string. So that might be a wise way if you want to move this into C or any other key, because that way you don't have to deal with any open strings. You can just play this. Boom, dum, dum, dum. So that's E flat, E flat, E, F. I'm sorry, E flat, E flat, E. I was like, where's this 3rd E flat? I knew there was one back here and I wasn't looking at this one. So we have and really this G is a pickup note to the next 2 bars or the last 2 bars of the phrase. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, ba, 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 da, 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 da. So playing those triplets, counting those triplets is tricky. Da 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 da. But just try to stay right in the middle. So you should hear this metronome clicking right there where that 8th note rest is, and right here where this 8th note rest is. Right, that's where this should be falling. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right there, yeah. Right, 2, 3. Da 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 da. Da, 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 right? So that's where that should be falling. You should be hearing that in the cracks. Same when we play. So listen for stuff like that when we're practicing with the metronome on this. Listen for where it should be falling. If you're playing, make sure it lines up. If you're not playing, make sure it's falling in the crack, but still rhythmically in the crack, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Again, 1, 2, 3, go. Now these triplets are always tricky for me. Triplets have always been hard for me not to rush or make them feel off kilter. I think the trick for me personally is just to lay back and try to play them a little bit behind. It always seems to work out better if I play my triplets just a little bit behind the beat. I don't know why, but that's how it works. That sounds better than that a little bit more anxious type of feeling. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can play them however you want to, of course, but what are you going for? You want it to have that like really like kind of on top of the beat, anxious type of feeling. Do you want to feel more chill over it? You know, it's again, you talk about East Coast, West Coast, you know, kind of vibes, but that's part of this. So let's see if we can play this without the information now. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, 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 that. And there's that little G at the end, which is part of the next phrase coming up again, of course. Try it with me again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Boom, 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 da. So let's try it from the top now. Let's try the whole thing up to that point from memory if you can. All right, because I can't put it up on the screen. I've only got it in bits of 2 bars. So if you want the lead sheet, if you want the worksheet, click down below, okay? So try with me. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Ba, ba, da, boom, dee, dum, dee, da, dee, 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 dum, dee, dee, dum, dee, 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 dum, dee, dee, dee. Cool. Okay, so that felt pretty good to me. There are parts where I was like pushing and pulling, but for the most part, I was hearing where this metronome was clicking, and it gets to be a point where it's just like it feels like a backbeat, you know, like a jazz backbeat or something. I don't know. Hearing it on beat 4, you know what I mean? So checking yourself and keeping yourself accountable while that's happening is really cool. All right, let's try this one more time with our new building blocks of bass cam, just because I like to see it there. All right. Isn't that cool? Anyways, let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, not too bad, right? So I should say, all of this melody I learned from ear. This is not from the Omni book. This is, so if you're looking at a chart like that you just pulled up on Google or something that's not lining up, that's probably why. The way that I transcribed this was from this particular recording. So they could be phrasing it a little bit differently than what you're hearing, what you're used to hearing on a different recording. But I think that's really important because, well, and this is the actual recording, right? Or one of the more original recordings. This is actually Charlie Parker playing. But when you go from recording to recording, you're going to hear different interpretations. That's just the nature of the beast. I mean, melodies are meant to be played or phrased different by different artists, right? So there will be small differences in this transcription than maybe what you see, like, again, in the Omni book or in a Chuck Scher real book or something like that. But, you know, the best place to get information always and for all time in jazz music will be either to go to a live show or to listen to a recording and steal stuff from recordings, right? So again, we'll be able to go to live shows someday. For now, dig into those recordings. There's so many good recordings. All right, so this is our last 2 bars. So kudos, we're like making it through. We're almost through these 12 bars. We're gonna get it down and we are gonna push through and do this up in the key of C as well too. So hang on, all right, hang on. Because I've never done it in key of C on the electric bass. We'll see how it goes. That was a pun, C. All right, so what should we do first? Let's look at the notes first and then we'll check out the rhythms, okay? So we see here we have an A natural. Now, a lot of times, Kat, like if you're just getting into blues, you'll always see chord changes where this says like automatically, if it's a blues, it's going to say it's got a dominant 7th on the back end of it. It doesn't always have a dominant 7th on the back end of it. There's not always a necessary or absolutely necessary dominant 7th chord anywhere. Do you know what I mean? It can be just a B flat, as in it can have this A natural in it and sound a little bit like B flat major, you know, with this A natural leading into that B flat. It really sounds like it's gotten to its home key. It's okay to play A naturals in B flat blues. I think, you know, I don't know anything, but I hear it and it's in this melody. So there you go. So what do we have? We have A, F sharp, G, B flat, which is kind of a different kind of, almost like an enclosure that we've done before. Getting to this B flat, we're going from below. We don't quite go above, but it's a different way to get to it. It's a nice little shape on the electric bass too. Play A with your first finger, 3rd finger on F sharp, pinky on G, and then B flat with your 2nd finger. That's a shape you can just move around immediately. I say that, right? And then back here, what do we have? We have A, G, F, A, G, E flat, G flat, A flat, F, right? So let's look rhythmically at what we have, okay? So this is, see how well I can do this. 1 and 2 and, right? 3 is a rest. You're gonna hear the metronome clicking here when we turn it back on, and a 4. So I've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and, right? 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and. Let's look at the next measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and. So let's do the 2 measures in its entirety. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and. All right. So again, hop into the comments if you have any questions, if you're interested in like counting or reading music, whatever, if you have any questions like that stuff. We're just going to get through the end of this melody, play it through, practice it through a few more times, and then we'll have plenty of time for any questions or any comments, anything like that. So, all right, let's play this, or let's hear this at tempo now. Again, we want to really get the rhythmic element of these melodies in our ears before we put them on the instrument. It's just going to sound better if we do that before, okay? So first, hear the quarter note, or just hear beat 4. Can you hear that? When you hear that click, say 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Da 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 ba dee da. That's this rhythm. Da 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 dee da. But I want it to be smooth like that. Da 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 do da dee da. So if I can sing it, and if I can sing it articulately in time with a really good clear attack, and even thinking about like my the length of my notes, that's really going to make a big difference too, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, can you do it without? 1. Sorry, that's 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Turn on the BBB cam. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Again, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Okay, let's try it now. If you've got it all from memory, kudos. That's awesome. That's great work, especially if you've never worked on this before. But a lot of times you have to, relearn melodies. It definitely happens to me a lot. Let's try the whole melody through a few times, okay? We'll try it at this tempo, then we'll bump it up, and then we'll try it in a different key. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't know about y'all, but for me, there's a couple places where I'm still having troubles with, like, particularly the triplets, keeping those in line. Now, one of the reasons I think that I'm having particular rhythmic issues is that I'm doing hammer-ons and pull-offs instead of articulating in my right hand. And I mean, I'm not going like this. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would sit a lot better if I would do it that way and not try to do that with a hammer-on and pull-off. And it's going to be more articulate when we get a little bit faster too. So let's do both of those things. Let's up the tempo. I'm moving it to 40. So this is beat 4. So do the math, whatever tempo that is, right? It's faster. Call that 4. I'm going to play it through. Let's play it through again together. And let's try to really articulate every note, not doing any hammer-ons, pull-offs. Try to really play the rhythms that we've counted and clapped, okay? Try to make it feel good. Hear the tempo. So say 4, 4, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That sat better with me rhythmically, at least, doing that articulation, really playing those triplets, really playing all of the eighth notes and not slurring or anything like that. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. So I already broke my rule. I already did it without with the slurs, and it felt weird, you know? I think it was okay. You let me know, but let's bump this up. We're at 45 now. So let's work on our speed a little bit, and then we'll work on transposing, and then we'll get into some comments real quick, okay? So hear this tempo now. So since we're going by 5 clicks, but we're calling it beat 4, we're moving up exponentially pretty quickly, okay? So I'm hearing this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So it's tricky for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm live here playing it like really poorly, but I'm working on it. You know what I mean? And I know that, or I have an inclination by what I'm hearing right now that I need to really focus on my triplets and this articulation to make it more clear. Of course, like playing bird melodies has like a really rich history. Jaco Pastorius is playing Donna Lee, of course. Nobody will forget that from that seminal recording. Jaco on the cover, playing Donna Lee with just some bongos or some congas, and it's just totally killing, right? So really quick, let's see, can we do this together? Can we piecemeal together the melody? We've done it in B flat, but we know that Bird does it in C. And we're probably going to want to know how to do this in different keys anyway. So let's try to do it real quick. Just move it ahead. So first 2 bars. Can we do that in C? I know I'm going root. Starting on the 5th. 5, 4, 1, 3, 5, 4. Root. See if we can just do that much. So in C, we want to start on the 5th. So what's the 5th of C? G. So I've got G, F, C, E, G, F, C, G, B flat, You got that? The next part, if you closed it the way that I did, right? I know Ian's on that. If we closed it this way, anyways, you're probably hearing some Mario Brothers in there. That's how we get to it there. We don't have enough time to get through all of this transposing it. I'm going to put myself out there and just try playing it and see how it goes. Just a couple times through, then we're going to hop over to the comments, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I don't know it in that key for sure, but that's my next step. So going through learning the melody, even just, I like to make the analogy of doing, taking smaller bites and thoroughly chewing them, right? So you could somebody could give you this whole big birthday cake. You have to eat the first bite. And if you gulp that down, you know what I mean? Then you've got one less piece that's really going to taste good. Take your time, thoroughly chew up these bites, you know what I mean? Little bits of music, thoroughly digest them, and you're going to get more out of them. That's what your mom said anyways, right? You're supposed to chew 20 times every bite so you can get the most nutrients, right? You need your nutrients. So same with this, when we're learning melodies, when we're learning solos, anything like that, take it slow, get deeper, take it slow. Okay, it's really going to pay off in the long term. Okay, cool. So let's hop on over to the comments now and see how everybody's doing. I'm on a different screen here, so I've got to finagle my screen to make this work. But really, really happy to be here, of course. Let's see. Okay, so my buddy Ian is backstage with the PDF for this session. Of course, you can click those. Hey, okay, so I thought this might come up, and I think it's hilarious every time it does. Of course, Charlie Hayden is Jack Black's father-in-law. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. Yeah. Petra Hayden. So Charlie Hayden's family is just super talented too, and super musical and super cool, right? So hey, Edelson, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you as always. Oh, okay. Hey, Alexandra, how are you? Glad you're here with us. He was the dean of Cal Arts Music Department. That's right. Got some good buddies that studied with Mr. Hayden while he was there, and say there's nothing else quite like it. I mean, I never had. I was never able to take any lessons with Charlie or anything, but I super love his playing, and it really changed my life too. Honestly, hearing The Shape of Jazz to Come, that Ornette Coleman album, when I was in high school, just changed my life. And I was like, yeah, I want to be a bass player after hearing this. And it was because of Charlie Hayden, Billy Higgins, Ornette Coleman, and Don Cherry. So yeah, so I love it. That's really cool. I like this. Thank you. 80. Play more. Don't talk too much. I like that. I'm going to correct your spelling though, Edie. It's T-O-O. That's just because you got me though. So yep, I'll play some more. Awesome. Joyce, Happy New Year. Thanks for all your online live stream lessons, Bob. Thanks so much, Joyce. Really appreciate that. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so Luis Oliveria. Hopefully I'm close to saying your name right. Metronome on 4 without tapping the foot seems hard. Yeah, I think it's definitely hard, and that's for sure the point, Luis. Like to really, but you have to balance out like how much of it do you want it worth? Like, so what I'm trying to say is that if I think on all 4 beats, I'm super like, and I said this earlier, I feel like super like tied down by the tempo. Excuse me. Whereas if I can just hear the metronome on beat 1 or on beat 4, then I can really kind of hear the entirety. It means something different to me. Metronome on all 4 actually is harder, I think, for me these days, just to make it feel right. But I totally relate to your sentiment. Again, if we're just starting off, this is on 45, and I just like to keep my metronome slow. If you're just starting off, if you want to call this 2 and 4, it's a good place to start. This will be considerably slower if you do. 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The alternate way to do that to make it faster, of course, is just to say this is beat 1 or call it beat 4. 4, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then you're kind of like, I akin it to like riding a bike. Once you get on it, you can just kind of like feel where it is, because I feel very comfortable doing this again, like just hopping right back on it and saying where beat 1 is for the most part. But yeah, it can be tricky, but that's just some ideas for maybe how to practice that, Luis. Yeah. Eric Malden, what's up? Nice work. Thanks. Awesome. Hope you're practicing with me. Alberto, how are you? Great. 7th level of hell. Wow, I love this. That's awesome. Okay, so here we got a question about the melody. In these, hey Malta, how are you? Good to see you again. Thanks for joining me again. I apologize if I'm butchering your name again too. So in these faster tempos, do you use open strings to make the fingering easier, or would you prefer not playing open for a more consistent sound? Ooh, that's a great question. That is a great question. I really like that. It's right in line with like how I think about like fingerings and how to make things sound good, because ultimately it is that it needs to sound as good as possible. So if you can close your eyes, if you can record yourself doing it one way or the other, if one sounds better than the other, then that's the option. Even if it is tricky, even it's more tricky to play, that's the right option because it sounds. That is always the right choice. So with open strings, yeah, I did find it. I learned this on upright initially too, and I found it easier to play on open strings for intonation's sake. But then when like I was saying again too, when it goes to transposing it or moving it into different keys, even if it's just one lick, having everything closed can really make a big difference. So yeah, but we're on the same page for sure. Using those open strings can be a big help when things are starting to get faster. But yeah, it'll change the sound, because an open string does not sound like a fretted string, right? Especially the G's, any of the open strings. All right, Michael, what you got? The rhythms can be tricky for me. Me too. Clearly, I mean, you heard what I was doing. I will start with metronome beats on every quarter until I get more comfortable. Hey, and that's really good too. When we're here, it's really, I don't know where everybody's at. Do you know what I mean? And that is a great thing to know, is that I need to start with the metronome on all 4 beats. If anybody had any troubles with any of the, with the rhythms that we were counting out, just, yeah, take them slow. That's always the way. And if anybody has any questions too, reach out in the Facebook group. I'm always there, always happy to answer any questions that you might have. But yeah, slow it down. I just, in these sessions, I think I assume that I'm going to be doing some practicing more or less like, like where I'm at, like can still be accessible. So it's kind of tricky. It's a balancing act for me too. Michael, slow it down if you need to. There's nothing wrong with that at all, of course. Okay. All right. And again, of course, there is an end of year sale, 50% off on the building blocks of bass. Just follow that link and you can get everything behind that. Alexandra, hey, what's up? I'm glad you're asking questions. This is really cool. What's the idea behind calling the metronome the fourth beat? And so I kind of explained it before, and I've definitely done it in previous sessions, but a good idea is worth repeating. I am trying to develop my own internal tempo. I can, of course, just turn off the metronome and say that I'm playing in time, and yeah, it feels good, it feels awesome, but the metronome gives me a check, a reality check on where the tempo actually is. And by calling it on beat 4, I'm not getting those as often or as frequent check-ins. Like I'm not getting all 4 beats. It's not telling me where beat 1 is, where beat 2 or 3 is. It's just telling me where beat 4 is. So as long as I know where that should fall with the rhythm that I'm doing, then I'll line that up more. The overarching concept, and it's not mine, like I forget who talked to me about this initially, but it's something I've done for a long time now. The overarching concept is to do more with less. So I'm trying to practice with less metronome, but still make sure that I'm on the tempo, and that will hopefully make my internal time better and make me a better musician. So that's the idea, at least there, Alexandra. So yeah, hope that helped. John Ewing, awesome. You're awesome, John Ewing. I love that. Okay. Oh, Leonardo Montenegro, that A natural is actually part of D7. Okay, so we're talking about Do you mean this, Leonardo, this A flat? I actually just don't know what you mean. That's why I was playing through. So that's where the D would fall. The D7, like flat 5, I think is how I put it, or D7 half diminished. So help me out. If is that where you mean? Because I am always and forever trying to learn. So if I'm playing this wrong from this recording, please let me know. But again, I am getting this. Again, I am getting it from this recording. There are different ways to articulate everything, right? So maybe it's coming from this recording. It sounds different than the live at St. Nick's, right? If we're talking about different notes, that is. So Alberto, Bob, do a course about sight reading. 40 years trying and still can't do it. I feel you for sure on that. I grew up in a musical environment that was really like heavily based upon reading, less so upon ear training. And I always grew up wishing it was the opposite way around, like that I really like grew up just like being able to hear chords and melodies, pick them out, But again, I learned from a lot of books basically. And, that got me reading really quickly. So I started reading really young, and I really started off by reading the Omnibook a whole bunch, just really slow bass clef and then in treble clef. So yeah, but I'll consider it. I'll try to get together some tips, Alberto, for sight reading. Okay. So stay tuned. We'll do something. All right. My buddy Mark's here. What's up? How are you? Good to see you, Mark. That lick at the end is good to take through the entire scale and every key. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. There's the whole thing. You could make it a month-long, year-long study if you really got into it, right? It's just so much good stuff in there. Also, going through bop melodies like this is great. Would love more. Yeah, for sure, Mark. We'll definitely do some more. I've got some ideas for doing some other, some lesser played bop melodies that are really good that lay on the bass. And yeah, so cool. I'm glad you like it though. I'm a big fan too, and I'd never learned this particular one. So, okay, Mario's here. Hey, Mario, how are you? Okay. Hi again, Bob. Could you please explain that E natural on bar 10? It's not resolving to F or any other chord tone. It sounds great, but I don't get it very well. let me head on over to this stuff. Let's see, I want to take this away. So I think this is bar 10, right? This E natural right here. Where's that coming from? So what key are we in? I think that plays a bit of it. Do you know what I mean? That's just like, if we think about what key we're in B flat. And so what is it? E natural. That's the blue note. You know what I mean? That's like, that's my first guess as to why that's in there. But yeah, that's a good point, Mario. I mean, there's not a really great, you know, a great reason aside from that. Do you know what I mean? So, yep, it sounds great. You're right. Just that chromatic motion, and then the rhythmic bounce of it too, I think is really cool. You know, how it's falling on the upbeats like that. Okay, Edelson. I think you were the one that asked me when I was playing something on upright if I would suggest the same fingering on electric. Was that you? Like 4 or 5 sessions ago? Anyways, do I suggest the same fingering for upright? I didn't write out the fingering, but tab I did on this stuff. I would definitely play it differently on the upright bass. I don't really have the time, unfortunately, to get into that just right now, but maybe we can play it again someday. Or if you have any particular questions, Addison, about fingering, just let me know. Be more than happy to talk to you about it later, okay? Cool. All right, Scott Marshall, transposition is great, Ray Brown said. Don't ever say you know a tune unless you can play it in all 12 keys. Absolutely. Scott, really quick, I've told this story before, and a lot of people have had the same story because they've been there to see this. But of course, the great Ray Brown came to UNT when I was a student there to do a masterclass over a series of days as well. Stood up in front of the entire school, music school, with a bass and said, call a tune and call a key. T for 2, D flat. Tune for tune, these foolish things, F. And he would segue. You know, like nothing to it. Ray Brown knew all of that stuff. And yes, you don't know a tune unless you know it all 12 keys. Okay, let's see. I was pleasantly surprised to see you using the third finger in third position. A lot of teachers tend to discourage this, even on electric. Thanks for all the great work. Cool. Yeah. For me, Stuart, yeah, teachers can, you know, like everybody's got their opinion as far as and can be very passionate about it. You know what I mean? But if it sounds good and it feels right, then it is right. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've got 9 times out of 10, I might not play a third finger anywhere on the electric bass just because I'm, you know, so much in the upright world. But yeah, I think it's cool. If it sounds right, it is right. So always. Malta says, thanks for the practice. Thank you. All right. And almost the last comment. We have Emmanuel. Thanks, Master. Come on. Don't call me Master. Okay. On the last 2 bars, like a D7, G minor 7, C minor 7. So this is what Leonardo was talking about on the last 2 bars, like a D7. Let me check back. Okay. So. I feel you now, Leonardo. Okay. All right. I'm sold. That's cool. Yeah. So he's talking about, and it very clearly is, beautiful. This is a D7. So this A natural, he's outlining a D. That's the 5th and the 3rd. And then G is this G and B flat. Sure. I'll buy that. Yeah, totally. And then this makes sense. This would be the 3rd of C minor 7, if you want to call it that. It really, though, depends on what the bass player plays in the bottom, Leonardo, right? So that's where the bass player gets all the power. Oh, and I like this. Yo boy, E-man. Charlie Parker looks kind of different. I think you're talking about me. Yeah, I look different. So I don't look like Charlie Parker. Theory seems to always get in the way of the sound. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you just learn it by ear, you don't think about the theory of it. Yeah. So I did a lot of, writing this out was well after I learned to play this along with the recording. So it's, theory can slow you down, and trying to analyze and explain the stuff can for sure slow you down. But I think it's really important to try. You know, it teaches me different things about trying to like explain what I think about the theory and stuff like that. But first and foremost, Aaron, I'm here to play the music. You know what I mean? So I learned it by ear. I learned it in different keys. I'm not trying to analyze it, but it is informative, you know? So yeah. Hey, I'm not. Hi, Bob. Do a lesson about Sippin' at Bells. Great bebop tune too. I like to know how you finger it. Cool. Yeah, we can definitely try that. That's for sure a good one. One of my first and favorite recordings, aside from The Shape of Jazz to Come, is Stan Getz' album called Pure Getz. And they play Sippin' at Bells. Jim McNeely, Mark Johnson's playing bass. It's so good, so good. All right. Mario says, thanks, Bob. Phil says, great lesson. Thanks so much. So thank you so much for joining me this week in the Building Blocks of Bass. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be here. I love getting to talk about bass, and so I'm always happy when anybody joins me. So thank you for doing so. Really appreciate all the comments, everything in the live chat. Please feel free to continue to comment afterwards. I will go back and check out all the comments that are going on here. Please take a trip over to openstudiojazz.com. Check out all the great stuff. And remember, we have 50% off the Building Blocks of Bass course, which is, and James Jamerson says, yes, Pure Getz. Yes, good album, right? And so we have 50% off the Building Blocks of Bass course as well for a limited time, end of the year. A lot of good sales happening over there. So, all right. Again, my name is Bob DeBoo. Thank you so much. Leonardo, I see you. Yeah, I really appreciate that insight. That's super cool of you, man. That's very cool. So happy practicing. See you next Monday. Peace. Happy New Year.